It has been a very busy few weeks for us as new devices with the latest chipsets are popping up everywhere. And in this video, we are going to talk about the brand new iQOO 13. This phone has been released for quite some time in other regions, but it is only recently launched here in Malaysia. And I had the opportunity to test it out extensively for the past 2 weeks or so, and here is my full review of the iQOO 13. So please hit that like and subscribe button, as this also took us a lot of time to test the phone as well, especially with the Q2 chip, which the description on their website is just super vague and we have no idea what it does, but I kind of had the answer in this video. So yeah, let's start with the performance of this phone first. The iQOO 13 is using a special combination of chips. It is powered by the latest Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite and also has a proprietary co-processor called the Q2 Supercomputing chip or something like that. And yeah, we'll talk about it in a while. Remember in our gaming test that we've uploaded a while back? Yeah, I was in disbelief that the iQOO 13 performed really well in Genshin Impact at the highest graphical settings and still got nearly consistent 60 FPS throughout the entire gameplay of nearly an hour, while the temperature barely hits 45 degrees Celsius. That is seriously impressive, and we have never seen this level of performance on a smartphone before. Then when we move on to Zenless Zone Zero though, particularly the super long and intensive fight with the 9V boss, the iQOO 13 finally showed its true colors. After re-watching the entire footage, I realized that the frame rate in that particular scene is, although smooth, is only at around 40 FPS average. And looking back, I think I know what the Q2 chip does. You see, in Genshin Impact, this is one of those games that are supported by the Q2 chip and has a lot of additional features when we drag out the sidebar. We have things like the game super resolution that upscales the game to whatever resolution as shown on the screen here, but the performance really drops a lot when we enable this option. Then there's also the option to enable the frame interpolation as well to get a higher frame rate, but we will not talk about that in today's video. But these two graphical options are unavailable in other games like Zenless Zone Zero. And that is why the frame rates aren't as good on Zenless Zone Zero, as the performance has been throttled by quite a lot. By the way, the monster mode doesn't seem to change anything either, so I'm not sure what enabling this actually does. Back to the Q2 chip for a while. The logical conclusion here is that for supported games, the Q2 chip will take off some load from the Snapdragon 8 Elite. Presumably, it also has some sort of upscaler technology like DLSS or FSR as well, because it manages to maintain such a frame rate with such cool surface temperature. So with that in mind, iQOO can also lower the thermal limit of the phone to somewhere around 44 degrees Celsius while maintaining such a high frame rate for certain games. These are all speculations, by the way. I have reached to the conclusion by just looking all of the data that we've gathered and going through the process of elimination. I mean, this is surely one of the many solutions to the ever-growing performance demands from games, but it is not a universal solution for all games. I am still waiting for game developers to adopt ARM's accuracy super resolution upscaling technology. With whatever technology the game developers choose to use, it just goes to show that the Snapdragon 8 Elite's raw performance is just not sustainable. Still, great gaming performance overall from the iQOO 13, but even better gaming performance if the Q2 chip supports those games. Okay. So with that out of the way, how is the battery life of the iQOO 13? Well, it is to be expected. This phone has a humongous battery that is equivalent to 6150 mAh. I say equivalent here because the iQOO 13 uses a dual cell battery that is connected in series, so the voltage is doubled but the amperage is cut in half. Either way, it totals to around 23.62 watt-hours of capacity, and to know why watt-hour is better than milliampere hour in terms of battery capacity measurement, watch our video at the top right corner there or down in the description below. And I did a total of 2 battery life tests for the iQOO 13. The first one is with 1080p resolution, locked at 144Hz refresh rate, and it lasts for 21 hours and 47 minutes. That is to be expected from a phone with such a huge battery capacity. So if we turn it up to 1440p resolution and also still locking it into 144Hz refresh rate, It lasts for 19 hours and 54 minutes. The impact here isn't significant at all, only about 1.8833% drop in terms of battery life for this particular test. As for the charging speed, this is where things get interesting, as the iQOO 13 comes with a 120 watts Vivo flash charge charger in the box, and it supports up to 120 watts of its proprietary charging standard, or up to 65 watts of USB PD PPS. And oh, this charger also uses a USB-C port. So with its default settings, it can charge the phone from 15% to completion in about 35 minutes. The temperature is indeed rather high too, as it can reach somewhere around 36 degrees Celsius. Now then, when we head into the settings menu, we can enable something called the fast charging option. And when we redid the charging test, we can see that the charging speed isn't that much different from before, but the temperature goes up to 42.5 degrees Celsius, and that seems to be the thermal limit for this phone's maximum charging speed. Since iQOO claims that the iQOO 13 supports 100 watts of USB PD PPS charging standard, I redid the entire charging test using our Ugreen 140 watts charger and found out that the iQOO 13 will only take in 45 watts at most. Still, the charging speed is slightly faster compared to the stock charger with the fast charging option disabled, yet the temperature is also much lower. Again, I really appreciate that they are supporting USB PD PPS and not locking us down to the proprietary charging standards. Good job here. Oh, the iQOO 13 also supports bypass charging as well, which they are calling it as the direct drive power supply. It works with a USB PD PPS charger as well, so we are again not tied down to their proprietary charger, and I really like this. So now let's talk about the screen. The iQOO 13 has a 6.82-inch OLED screen with a high resolution of 3168 by 1440 pixels and also goes up to 144Hz refresh rate. By default, the screen is really good as it goes up to around 1737 nits brightness, and the color gamut coverage is really good as well. We're talking about 99.72% of sRGB and 97.74% of DCI-P3 color gamut coverage, with a rather low delta E number as well. The maximum delta E number here should be a fluke here since the average is so low. Now, there are two more different color profiles in the settings menu, and I'll just quickly show the results on the screen here because I honestly do think that the default color profile is already good enough, but the bright color profile is also okay if you want to use it. So the colors will appear a little bit more vivid, while the professional color profile is less vivid. So you do you, pick whatever you want. Now let's talk about the software. It's basically the same software as the Vivo X200 Pro that we have reviewed earlier. Out of the box, it is running on funtouch OS 15 on top of Android 15, and the overall navigation here is super smooth, but since it is the same software as the Vivo X200 Pro, it also comes with all of the bloatware and ads as well. I'm not really a fan of this, but at least we can remove most of this bloatware. I mean, for a phone that's meant for gamers, the overall software experience here is pretty bland. Yes, it does come with its own set of unique features like the 4D vibration, but that's about it. There is no feature to remap the buttons when we connect it to an Xbox controller or anything like that. What we do have here is the ring light around the camera bump, and I personally don't use it that much because it's kind of difficult to activate it. I personally can't see the light when I'm playing the game, so whatever goes. Of course, we'll also have to talk about the design too. The iQOO 13 is available in 3 different colors, and we have it in the Legend color, which is practically white and it has the BMW Motorsport branding on it. The overall design here is sleek and minimalist, and it has a matte back. It feels really nice to touch and hold, and the camera bump doesn't stick out like a sore thumb as well. However, the camera bump is still, I think, too big, and it acts like a heat trap as shown on our thermal camera. And I hope iQOO can shrink the camera bump even further in the next generation. And speaking of the camera bump, now it's time to talk about those cameras. There are 3 cameras here, and all of them are using 50 megapixel sensors. So are the cameras actually good? I do think that the colors coming out of all the 3 cameras here are good. They are consistent for most of the time, though some scenes are more challenging than others and cause the cameras to have, different exposure levels and or colors. The main camera is okay, while some scenes will cause the ultra-wide and telephoto cameras to take pictures that are a little bit more blurry and also a bit more noisy. Overall though, I think that the cameras here are much better than what I expected originally. So here are a few more things to mention about the iQOO 13. It has a USB 3.0 port at the bottom, and we can use it to mirror the phone's display to an external display. It also does have dual SIM card slot, and it is rated for both IP68 and IP69. Finally, should you buy the iQOO 13? Well, I think yes. If you're looking for the latest gaming phone, then this is a fantastic choice. As we've shown in this video, certain games like Genshin Impact can take advantage of the Q2 coprocessor and provides superb performance at a very low temperature. However, other games that cannot take advantage of the Q2 coprocessor will have a rather low FPS because of the low thermal limit of only 44 degrees Celsius, but the frame rate is still very consistent. At only 3,499 ringgit, I do believe that the iQOO 13 is a much better phone compared to the Realme GT7 Pro. And that's all that we have to share with you here in today's video. Let us know what do you think about the iQOO 13 and particularly the Q2 coprocessor chip. Do you agree that the raw performance of the Snapdragon 8 Elite is just not sustainable and we need some sort of upscaler technology soon? Let me know all of your thoughts and colorful comments down below. Hit the like button and subscribe. Now we will see you in the next video. Goodbye.